Tomorrow, the state of Alabama is scheduled to execute 61-year-old Doyle Lee Hamm by lethal injection. Hamm was sentenced to death in 1987 for murdering a motel clerk during a robbery. But while Hamm's been waiting on death row, he's also been dealing with lymphatic cancer, diagnosed 4 years ago. Although the state argues Hamm's cancer is in remission, his attorneys say the condition is terminal. And it's a point that advocates have seized on to ask Alabama to halt the execution. This morning, Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall said no to that request.
The petition includes a lecture to me from all people of the United Nations describing this as, quote, the ghoulish execution of a terminally ill man. It gives you no understanding of the victim and the consequences to the victim's family of this heinous act.
The case is opening up a new front in the debate over the death penalty. What it means for the state to keep inmates alive when it's already sentenced them to die.
He's been on death row for 30 years, and yes, they're aggressively trying to execute him.
Bernard Harcourt has been representing Doyle Lee Hamm pro bono since he first came across the case in the early 90s.
This is the Doyle Hamm room.
You have a whole room for Doyle Hamm?
Yes.
That was his mugshot?
That was his mugshot, family pictures.
Harcourt gets a phone call from Hamm several times a month.
How much pain does the cancer cause you right now?
The laceration that's on my face is a burning or stinging little sensation all the time. It's giving me problems.
For the better part of 3 decades, Harcourt has fought to get Hamm off death row. But in the past few months, he's changed his strategy. Hamm has collapsed veins as a result of his cancer treatment, which could make lethal injection incredibly painful. So Harcourt is now trying to get Alabama to kill Hamm in a more humane way.
What we've proposed is medical aid in dying, essentially, because we're dealing with someone who's got lymphatic cancer and who's pretty much at the end of his life. He should receive an oral injection that would not involve torture or unnecessary pain or suffering.
Harcourt's motion was denied yesterday, which means Alabama will finally be able to do what it's been trying to do for decades: execute Hamm. But during that same period, Harcourt estimates Alabama has also spent tens of thousands of dollars making sure Hamm stayed alive. Why did the state of Alabama spend their time trying to treat his cancer?
So the only thing that they treated was the bulging cancerous mass behind his left eye that was going into his cranium. What they're doing is they're doing a delicate balance of keeping him alive just long enough that they can be the ones who execute him and that he doesn't die of natural causes.
Do you find it absolutely absurd that that is what the state of Alabama is spending their time doing, keeping someone alive so that they can be the ones to execute him?
I wouldn't use the word absurd. I think I would use the word unconscionable.
We reached out to the Alabama Department of Corrections. It did not respond. The Attorney General's office acknowledged our request, but declined to comment. Claims like Harcourt's aren't new. There has been a terminally ill prisoner executed in the United States before. In 2007, Oklahoma executed Jimmy Dale Bland, who had terminal lung cancer. But it's going to be a problem more states will have to deal with. The death row prisoner population is getting older, and more than 40% of those sent to death row since 1977 are still there.
It's the legacy of massive incarceration in this country and a punitive system in the 1970s and 80s and 90s that has left us this legacy of aged and infirm prisoners. And so, yeah, we're making a turn into hell.